problem was there and they were solved, right? There's one more such instance. I will come to that instance once I keep on going through my slides and talking about it. So today, the first session is all about how to define this market. How do you say I have 100,000 or a lakh number of users for my product here? Can you all do that right now? Probably not. But the moment you start doing things as a market research, building on your product, taking the product to the first level of attrition, second level of feedback, those will bring you to closer to actually having a defined product and also having a demand. So we are defining the market and we are sizing the opportunity. Sizing the opportunity is nothing but putting in numbers to it. If you have a great demand, right? You have a beautiful product which you have invested a lot of money in, but you don't have people who will pay for the product. It's as good as a redundant product, right? That means what happens if when you do the initial market research of understanding if this problem is a viable, payable problem was right and wrong, or you've not done the initial market research of understanding whether they will pay you for this problem statement that you're solving. So again, we have to first define the market. Now, again, how do we define the market? Right? In your own words, I'll give you the book definition little later. But in your own words, what is a market for you? Sorry. इतने chorus में बोलोगे मुझे वैसे नहीं समझ आएगा. One person, please. Sorry, you tell me. Yeah, a market is a place where you buy and sell a product, right? That's your basic definition. What goes around it? What? Sorry? So when you are buying and selling your product, you will also have competitors who are already doing that. But you would have heard now by a lot of people, I mean, at least I have heard 50 plus founders telling me that my product is unique. There is no competition for my product. How did you come up with the product? How do you come up with the product? No. What is the base of coming up with a product? What is the base? Why do I build a product? There is a problem and I'm solving it. There is a problem and I'm solving that problem. So when you have a problem and you have a solution, you will definitely have, if not competition, but a traditional way of solving this problem. That by itself is your indirect competition. आपके पास competition नहीं है in names of companies who already have a product running. But then your competition is the traditional way of solving the problem. So you can never have a problem. I mean, a competition, because you will identify this problem because you are solving it in a traditional way which takes longer time, and you're getting a solution which will shorten the time. Right? That's the basic thing. Right? So that's what we are talking about. You will always have competition. Never presume that your market is a very, very niche, a very, very virgin market. It's not a virgin market anymore. Right? Unless and until, yeah, there are those exceptions which have always been there. But then when you look at the exception also, there was a traditional way of solving this problem. Look at a Dunzo, right? But Dunzo is just a delivery guy, right? But then there was a traditional way of solving it where the supermarkets used to send their unemployed, a hospital used to send their unemployed to take the tests, right? Now we've got a Dunzo. Correct? So that's what I'm saying. There was always a traditional way of doing this. But then you have a better way of handling things to you. And so a market is a sum of buyers and sellers in sector or region under consideration. Now your area, this sector or region that I'm talking about, sector is industry, region is the area, right? Your area can be as small as a city where you're serving this. But you cannot stop at that. You might want to go to a state. You might want to go to a country. You might want to take it international once you clear the country, right? But then these are all next steps. What you need to first do is first identify that there is a problem. Then you try to solve it in the place where you already have a base to understand whether this is a viable solution or not, whether this is a payable solution or not, whether this can be worked upon. Classic example of again the same company that I was talking about, right? They were from Hyderabad, but then they did not succeed here. They went to Bangalore, they succeeded, right? So again, you say, I mean, one will say that, I will do it in the place where I am in Hyderabad, but then you might feel by doing the research or market research that Hyderabad does not have that capacity right now to take another product or solution that you're trying to a Bangalore or a Delhi or some other place in this country will be the solution. Might not be just the country. You might have to go to another country, but that doesn't mean that you don't do your research, because research will actually avoid or lessen your spend of jumping into different cities or places beforehand, because then you will know which market you need to target, right? So that's why a market is also consistent of that region where you are going to start this work or this business, or you want to create a solution. Can you go to the next slide? Now, when we are identifying the market, of course, there will be steps involved. Everything is science. It has to be having a certain process. That's where, marketing, initially when it was done, it was more on the lines of doing random work. But then slowly marketing is also evolved to accommodate certain processes, certain ways of doing things to get better result and faster results. There are certain elements which I will be talking about, which will actually give you the depth you need to set up your product or to get a base for your product to take it forward, right? First step, identify the problem you're solving. That's very clear in our mind. We know that there is a problem, we have a solution. We are working on the solution. It can be either a hardware solution, it can be a software solution, it can be as it can be a manual solution wherein it's only a person or it's a personal physical element required. You don't need a software, you don't need a hardware for it, right? So we go there, then we find the solution, identify the people who benefit. I think we get one more step down and then identify the people who benefit from the solution. Like I said, you might find that the people you are trying to aim to are not the right people who will appreciate the solution or don't have the pay capacity for the solution for all you know, right? So it's very important that you also, when you are creating the solution, do this little math, understand and put yourself in that person's shoes and say, will this person buy my product? See, when you are, when you are in the process, in that place where you're finding a solution, you've got a solution, you're trying to make that solution, you will find that yes, you will have answer for every question that you ask. So it's always good to do a little bit of market research, which I will come to how to do market research and what are the different modes of market research, because market research is not just at this point of time identifying the customer. It is post identification of the customer also, where you would actually need to take your product, your MVP, minimum viable product, to that customer to make that person use it, to understand whether this is something that the person wants to buy or not. Then post that, this is all in cold closed loop. Post that, you will also need to take it to a certain outer group of people, more professional group of people, if your product is a B2B product, or a more bigger audience to understand whether your product is a product market fit. So you would have heard about these terms: minimum viable product, product market fit. MVP, see, okay, let me come to MVP. MVP, minimum viable product, is something which you can just create a skeleton version. It can be in the form of Google form. It can be in the form of the entire process mapped out in your document, and then run the customer through that process. You don't need to actually have the product. You don't need to actually have the app on your phone to actually show it to the customer. Just run that customer or that potential customer through the entire process. कि अगर आपको ऐसी चीज मिले, will you buy it? Will you pay money for research? We put this as a, there is a big terminology, research, which covers all these things. So जैसे मैंने आपको बोला MVP के लिए you need research, then you will need feedback on the product after they've used it to actually make those changes. Then you will need feedback on the product market fit. So there are different places where you will be doing research, but it comes under the broad umbrella of market research. But then your different research modes also will change. When you're talking about identifying the ideal customer, you've identified the customer. Once you have given that MVP to the customer, said the cheese will you pay? Again, now when I say customer, you cannot have your uncle, your aunt, your friends doing this for you. It is always important that you have a complete data set or a set of people who are not related to you, because otherwise you will not get a true feedback, unbiased feedback of your product or that service, right? And it just will become an inconclusive cycle when you will make this MVP, you will come to the product market fit. Then you might realize that this product is not working. Or you will actually launch the product and say, oh my, I've invested so much of money, but this product does not work because nobody's buying my product. Right? So that's why research part is very, very important. You evaluate that data, now you take the next 4 steps. Keep on entering and next 4 circles will come. And create a target market draft. At this point of time, like I said, you feel that Hyderabad is a good market, right? You create that draft, perfectly fine. They also did that, right? That startup, half teaspoon. The name will be better because I'll be able to coordinate it faster. Half a teaspoon. They created that Hyderabad market. They understood that there will be a demand. That's when they did their MVP, but they didn't succeed. They went to Bangalore, did the same thing, and they created a market there. And then they sold their MVP or they used their MVP for feedback. That's how they got the push that the Bangalore market is working much more better than the Hyderabad market, right? So that's why it's required for you to get a target market draft ready. Then that is compared to the real people. You have found the people, these are the people who will purchase, the customers. You have estimated a market, that this is the market I want to sell to, and then you will be comparing both these things. If there is a mismatch, you get to know the mismatch. If there is not a mismatch, you go forward. There are companies who have released their products, failed miserably, but bounced back after making those little tweaks or changes to their product or taking the product to a different market. So it is not, it's a short confirmation, but the way the process happens, if you go through those processes, you will be in a better position to be able to find those challenges or that gray areas which will reflect on past, right? You build your target market personas. Again, personas is something which I'll take in the second lecture, not right now. But personas again are just, it's a skeleton of the people you want to set. So, and that skeleton has to be very, 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 very specific to what is that person's age, the gender, the kind of work that person does, the kind of, if it is related to kids, your product is related to kids, then the kind of kids that person has got, what is the age of those kids, and so on and so forth. So that again is a different place to be in, which will be in the second section. This section, okay, this section we are going to just look at right now, saying that build your target personas. Just build, right? Conduct market research. Now, when you're conducting that market research, this is your first market research, wherein you will find that you need to see if this product will do well in this certain market or not. Now, again, market also is defined by its different, what do you call it? Right, different dimensions, right? Denominations. It can be, you can define it by saying the salary range this market has, or you can define it by saying the per capita income this market has, or you can define it by saying the kind of population this market has. Yeah, so revenue also, right? So what happens is how you're defining it is the first focus that you will take for your product. So if your product you want to grow only the users at this point of time, then you will look at a market which is what? Population. That's your number of people that stay or are in that market. Okay. Do you need my second slide? Your is not low. Okay, and then we get it. The next section is market research. Now, can somebody talk to me about what are the different ways of doing market research? If I ask you to get me data of people who use smartphones, right? Smartphones in the territory of Hyderabad only. Can you all get me that data? Yeah. How will you go about doing this research? Sorry. No, what is the way of doing it? Not the questions. What is the way of doing this research? Online survey. How will you do online survey? You have a database? Right, but do you have a database to do that online survey? Anybody else? Contacting which companies? The mobile phone provider companies? Okay. Right. Anything else? Sorry? Offline service. What is offline service? You will go to each house and yeah, that's offline survey. Anybody else? Based on the product like the instance, then we can follow this. I'm asking who has a smartphone. That's not a product. So I already smartphones are available with everybody. So I want to understand how many people have smartphones. Because now kids also have, but then a certain age of kids I know don't have a smartphone. So that goes out of your population. Then people who are in old age, right? They will not have a smartphone. People who have a certain income, right? Those blue collar papers. Probably they'll have a smartphone, probably they will. If they have it also, they might not use smartphone. Second, not have smartphone, right? So how will you go about getting this data as to the exact numbers or at least a peripheral number to say that these are the people who are using a smartphone in the city of so that they can share and we can get them. Right. So that is one way of doing it, like you said, right? I would go to white papers, I would go to journal articles, I would go to studies, I would go to a report which might be available on the government side to say these are the people, this is the population of Hyderabad, out of which this much percentage of population has phones, mobile phones, and these many have smartphones out of that, right? So that is the easiest way of doing it rather than getting into finding the people first, making them, going to the collecting the database, giving them the form, getting an answer. That will obviously require more resources. You alone cannot do it for the entire population. You need 10 more people who will sit on the computer at least for 4 hours a day for the next 15 days. Keep on spending, please fill this form, please fill this form, please fill this form, right? Instead of that, I go to a government website or a website which is provided by mobile phone, companies, or a research paper which is spoken about this, right? Now, the mode that our friend was talking about, which is talking to people, asking them to fill the Google form, is called primary research. Why primary? Because you are talking to a person, right? I am going to a website, I am collecting the data, which is kind of okay, that approximate sign, it's there, but then I know that this is the kind of traffic I have, right? Secondary research, right? Why are we doing this? Certain products don't need primary research at the start where they are addressing a bigger market. Once they have addressed a smaller market, they will then do a primary research at that point. Right now, a secondary research would be good enough. But certain products cannot go with with secondary research. They have to do a primary research. For an example, a physical product, a product which is an FMCG. There was this beverages company which only used to sell coconut, cold pressed coconut, this thing oil, and they wanted to have or get a feedback pricing. So that is a very specific problem, and they knew what data set of people to involve. So this was a primary research for us. When we did a primary research, got certain data sets of people, a group of 100 people or a group of 200 women, 100 mothers, and so on so forth. Personas of people. We did that research. आप use करेंगे, कितना use करेंगे, कितना आपका consumption है, उसमें से what you will replace, right? So again, it's a cold pressed coconut oil. Some people, again, no bias, but some people love to use it for frying products. I mean, frying food also. But certain people just use a normal soda oil for frying. The other cooking is used with 4%, right? So there is a lot of difference and there's a lot of variation, and there's a very, very set data set that they will need to refine their product and also understand what are these personas that I want to select to. That time I'll do a research. But when I am actually thinking of the idea that should I put 10 machines to start taking out the cold pressed oil, I need to just know that there is a big enough demand, and will Hyderabad be the first place, or Bombay will be the first place, or Kerala will be the first place for me to start my, right? So that is the difference of doing market research. Okay, we've got primary research. Can you just click 3 or 4 times, you'll get all the bus. So your primary research involves surveys, like this spoke about. It involves interviews, right? In-person phone करके भी उठाना. Focus groups, like I said, they had mothers in one group, they had working women in another group. So different focus groups, which are persona based, to understand whether this persona is good enough for me to start targeting or they will not work for me, right? Customer observation. Just give the product, let them do whatever they do with the product, tell them to come after 10 days and talk about the product, right? Just give the feedback. No specific questions to be asked, just talk about what did you do with that. You will actually find there are different uses for it, but they would have not decided, right? So this is what you were talking about in primary research. Now, second research. Secondary research, web-based. reports, studies, articles, industry publications. So all this is for understanding whether your product will sell or not sell. You've got a brilliant idea, you've got a brilliant solution, but is that solution viable enough or not? Right? Go ahead, please. Or no, or there's another point again. Be sure that the data is fresh. So that you need to be sure you're not looking at a 2010 ka survey. You're looking at a 2020 or 21 ka survey. Right? Go ahead, please. If you can get the laptop, even I mean, now, the difference again, there's small subtle differences of market audience, which you need to understand because a lot of people will get confused. कि हमने करना क्या है सब? So start is always with the market. Then you go to the audience, and then you go to the personas of the clients. Again, audience, I will again go in detail when I reach the second session. Audience will be you have a certain set of people who are called influencers. I'll talk about that more at that point. They are also your audience. They might not be the purchasers of your product, but they'll influence the decisions. So they are your audience. So again, audience is not just your customers who are going to actually use the end product. It contains a lot of people which I will talk about when I reach the persona section. So basic difference, your target market is the end consumer. That's your target market which you're talking about. That means the people who are going to use your product. That's your market. Your audience is whom your company will advertise to, whom you will advertise to, whom you will make aware of your product or service. Right? While your target market might fall into your target audience, in the end, who advertises to many and your customers. Right? So until here, anything you want to talk to me about, any question you have that you need to ask. Okay? Let's go to the. This is something you would love to do. Okay? Okay, again, lot of things to remember, but what you need to remember is drill down, get down to the place where you know where will you find these people? How will you approach these people? It's important for you to know who your target audience is and how will it react to a certain change, a certain activity, or a certain uh, claim that you will make on your product, right? So again, इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा drilling होती है, where a lot of nuances are followed because you need to know if the person is working, not working, what is the kind of salary that they're drawing, what is the age that they're in. Again, location over here is very important to know where am I going to target my marketing efforts to, right? Security again. So a lot of times when you have probably just an example, right? You have a fintech product, a finance related product. You want to sell it to the audiences who who don't want to acknowledge. Okay, let me make it more simple. Insurance product, personal insurance, personal accident insurance. Our old insurance sellers, the agents, they used to say, "आप अगर मर गए तो आपके बच्चों का क्या होगा?" That was the way they used to speak, right? How did it refine over the period? Why did it refine? If somebody can give me an idea. I mean, it could have just been there. A insurance agent could have still walked into your house and said, "अगर तुम मर गए तो तुम्हारे बच्चों का क्या होगा?" Why did it happen? I'm asking the reason why did this change happen? We know the change has happened. People no longer say that if you die, right? What do they talk about and why did that change happen is my question. Anji? Yeah, please carry on. In what way he understands the agent has to tell in that way so that way they are so interested. Right. Okay, folks, एक चीज, there is no right and wrong answer. Please understand that. Everybody is exploring. We will have right and wrong answers when we give the exam. We're not giving an exam. We can be as literal as we want to possibly say. If you're speaking a wrong answer, also, there might be a perspective that you can quote, right? That's what I'm saying. It is never going to be a right or wrong answer in any of your mentoring sessions or the sessions that we take. It's your perception that is important. We need to know how do you think. Moment you start thinking, you'll come up with a lot of solutions. But if you're close to thinking, then आप right or wrong में अटके रहोगे. You will always be weighing your answers as right or wrong. Please don't do that in this session as well as the next session when you are with me. And can the girls over here come there, please? If it's okay with you all, my peripheral vision does not reach there. I just want to know, people around, what are they doing and what happened. Okay. Okay. So that's where we're coming to the security need, right? So over the period, what people or the marketers, these insurance policy, that is your insurance agents, people who used to create advertisements, realize that you are talking about something which is a taboo, which is still a taboo. You talk about deaths in the Indian culture, right? And if you don't talk about death, how do you sell the benefits of it? You cannot sell the benefits of it. So, because the moment they used to say कि आप मर गए आपके बच्चों का क्या होगा, the person is to switch off. कि sale ही नहीं हुई, right? And if that sale is not happening, then you're not even getting them. There is a cycle, there's a marketing cycle called awareness, consideration, purchase, and then loyalty. You're not taking them away from that awareness section into even considering your product, right? So if that does not happen, now I know. Thank you so much. When this happens, you either competition with or you change. And when you change, you bring in certain elements which people will accept. So that's why those benefits started coming in. People started talking about the benefits or the way you can accept that when I'm not here, somebody is there to take care. Right? So what happens is it's called playing to the security needs of a person. So when you're speaking about or when you're working to talk about your product, you actually have to go into the depth of understanding what is that person's psyche when they are taking the decision of buying your product or not, right? Then you start talking about that particular value proposition, that particular salient feature of your product, which will bring out that apprehension of theirs and toss it. So that's why when you look at this, people have specifically mentioned security need, what they need, what they want. Actual marketing is not pushing the box. It is not at all that. अब आप किसी कस्टमर को ये नहीं बोल सकते यही है आप ले लो. There are a lot of options. There are people who will customize the food, right? So you have to adapt to what your consumer is thinking and where can you find this customer. So everything again sub same in two insurance companies, then the tiebreaker will be a security need. How well can you communicate that security need will be your time, right? So that's why it's always required that you have all these details chalked down of a specific group of people who are willing to buy it. And that's for the persona mapping. Take it from the next. Okay, now you again bifurcate your market into these broad four sections. Why I'm talking about broad? We don't want to get into depth right now because going to depth you can go everywhere, but then things will not happen. You first do the first layer, then you go into another, then deeper layer, and so on and so forth. So the first layer is first bifurcated market, segmented into a geographic, a demographic, a psychographic, and a There is a saying, I mean, it's not a saying, it's actually a proven fact in marketing. People don't buy from or don't buy a product of a company. They actually buy from the person who's selling it. That person they buy up. Why do people or why do big brands call ambassadors? Right? हम लोग शाहरुख खान ने कुछ बेचा तो मैंने लेना ही है. We have that right now still. वो यूज कर रहा होगा नहीं कर रहा होगा is a separate matter. But उसने बेचा तो मुझे लेना है. My so over here I Rana, right? Rana does that TMT का ad if I'm not wrong. वो सनातनी दो rods, right? He does that again. Going deep into it, does he use the same thing in his house? Probably, probably not, right? But people buy it because there is a trustworthy person who's talking about it, or a person whom you idolize is talking about it. I want to, right? I mean, people till date. So I'm from Mumbai, born and brought up there. My father was a film publicist, so I have seen this happening nowadays. Right? Amitabh Bachchan at that point of time in 1980s, his house was thronged with people on every Sunday morning just to see his hand showing and waving at them out of the, I mean, above the gate. That's all he used to do. He never used to open the gate also. People used to throng his bungalow. And till date, I mean, what am I talking about? 43 years? We still have people thronging or big groups of people standing on that Sunday morning, let it rain, it's heat, full hot, they will still stand there to see his hand being waved. अब ये भी नहीं पता कि he is waving the hand of somebody else is waving it. So that's the kind of ideology or idealism that we have in any country. I mean, I'm not talking just in India. It's everywhere. There are local heroes that they idolize and they idolize them to any limit, right? So that's where person who is selling it has to have that, you know, um, conviction in that. So what off late we used to start doing, in our uh, 30s, when we had the money and we wanted to purchase appliances and stuff. TV खरीदना है, बड़ा TV खरीदना है, fridge खरीदना है, double door, single door. So we used to go to this place, and the first thing I used to ask the salesman was, "आप use क्या करते हो अपने घर में?" And the salesman used to say, "Samsung बेच रहा है." He used to say, "Godrej use करता हूँ." And I was like, "I'm not buying from this salesman. That's to go, right?" So that is the kind of analogy we all humans need to create, or that kind of relationship we need to create with that product, the person who's selling that product, and so try and see how you can get this emotional quotient in place for your product. That is not marketing speaking, it is just generally you need to have an emotional quotient to your product. That's what I'm saying. आपके features सारे same competition. 10 features here, 10 features there. What will sell? Yeah, of course. First come, first basis. अगर आप 10 दिन पहले चले गए from your competition, that person will buy the product. But it's also the emotional question. How you are connecting with your audience. How well you are connecting with your personas, with your people who are going to buy your product. Okay? So again, so I just geographic, very simple. Yeah, it's population climate. Demographic is whatever I spoke about. Their security needs, their age, gender, family, income, and stuff. So psychographic is your security needs, your lifestyle, your social class, personality. And behavioral is what is their behavior? How often do you need to actually speak to them for them to still use your product and not just jump to somebody else, right? That's the loyalty part, right? So that is behavior. We can put next slide, please. I just created a small exercise for everyone. Um, this will reach its conclusion after I've spoken to everybody and taken your inputs. So job role, don't press it. Otherwise, you know, पता लगेगा. Where will jobs? आपने अभी इससे पहले तो slide देखी थी. Sorry. Yay! Your age was well. Good. Press the enter. Security need is psychography. Okay. What they watch and read. First class. Budget owner. Again, this is for more B2B kind of side profile. It gives them a position of dominance, those who are budget owners, right? I will take the decision whether you want to purchase or not. Please go ahead. Psychography. Tech savvy, the savviness or the well-versedness of behavior. Education level. School. Smartphone savvy. Behavior. Smartphone savvy. Behavioral. Okay. Please go ahead. Okay. Income level. Why is geography not coming? Location. Hey! The location. So I mean, geography may you have very less because that's your actually the umbrella where you select and then go down, trickle down on all the other things. So geography will be one or two, and very small decisions to make, but then those are actually the more important ones. Then your trickle down approach will work. Otherwise, आप किसी और geography की बात कर रहे हो, looking at something else, right? So page. Now when we have something like dance dance song. I like it. Let's get into this now. आपने अपना market decide कर लिया. Generally, your market has people who are working, who have good income. So if this is my market, will I be happy in a West Bengal region? It's a big region. So to be more precise, in Calcutta, where my income level should be at the age of 35, I should be earning 10 lakhs and above. Will I be fitting or will my product fit in Calcutta region? I mean, Calcutta audience. No, because Calcutta by itself is a very, there's not too much of lifestyle enhancement over there. It's still at the level where, there are very learned people over there, but then mostly the jobs that holds government jobs or the jobs that holds educational jobs, right? And with these two kind of jobs, you don't have that much big level to post, right? So that's where the whole geography goes down a bit. But then if you have a product, an edutech product, that will sell like hotcakes because there the biggest spend is education, culture, literature. So these three things related products will sell like hotcakes. That is actually your very good ground to have an MVP developed and then do a product market fit. Right? Education, literature, and culture. So culture related. Okay, coming back to this. Okay. So your target addressable market, your serviceable available market, and serviceable obtainable. Like I said, I want to sell to the entire India. I have a product. My product is a product market fit. I've launched the product. I want to sell it to the entire India. It is a physical product which requires to be manufactured at my manufacturing unit in Hyderabad. And I want to sell to the entire India. Today I am sitting in June. I want to sell it to the entire India by December. Can I do it? Yes. Yes? No. And then justify your answer. No? Why? If you are several factors like logistic manufacturing and also supply. So people will be or not be going to people will be available or not to take the product. Okay. Anybody else? So you have manufacturing So okay, I get your point. Um, we have a lot of sub factors to consider here, right? For manufacturing, I should have the raw materials in place. My raw materials, are they scheduled to come? And how many units can I make to be able to send it to the different distribution centers that I have already collaborated with? There, my logistics will come into picture, my storage will come into picture, my distribution collaborations will come into picture, right? And then from there on, they will go to the different outlets which are there. So there's a lot of work required. Technically, it will not happen because your entire, this is called value chain. So what is a value chain? Value chain is, and it's generally there for manufacturing products and hardware products because that requires physical availability of goods, raw materials and everything. So a value chain is from the stage zero, where the ingredient or the equipments for making the product is manufactured or released to the day where it reaches an outlet and it is sold to a customer. That entire thing is your value chain. So again, it's a broad concept. You don't need to learn it right now. You need to first focus on your product. So what we will talk about is, yes, but December might not be a possibility, but in April might be a possibility, right? Because by then I will have enough products which I can take to India. But then, do I want to do that? I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Why I don't want to do it is because first things, I have just started this manufacturing facilities. I've already got a loan running and paying EMIs, whatever, right? I will have to procure the raw materials. That will also need some costing, right? I will have to shell out some money there. I wouldn't probably have been able to create that entire supply chain on a credit basis. I will have to first, you know, my credibility has to be established. That is not established, so I have to go with cash down or immediate payments, which will not happen. So it all in all, a December or an April also is looking very, very far off to me, right? Because I don't have that big a capacity to even manufacture for the entire India. So what I do is I cut it down to bit-sized pieces. Now, the smallest bit will be again the area that I was talking about, a Hyderabad or a Bangalore or a Delhi or a West Bengal or a Calcutta or other cities to start off with. Because depending on what is the kind of price that the revenue that I need to spend, I'm sorry, cost that I need to spend, right? That being taken care of, जब मेरा पूरा entire value chain is set and everything is working smoothly in Hyderabad, I will then shift it to probably two other cities. Stage for Hyderabad and two other cities to start off another stage, right? And then from there on, it to the entire India. Same thing. Come to a software product which is on a handheld phone. It's an application. What do I do? How do I go about? Is my target sitting in June or December target to release this product online on a Play Store? Is that a good target? Right? Yes, it is a good target. And then I can talk about the entire India being my first song and the world or those continents being my tag. So you see the variation in a physical product and a software product, and then again within the physical product, the time consumed and an app, vis-a-vis an app, right? So it depends all on your product. Again, for that matter, this is about direct consumers. But if you have a B2B product, which is selling to another business and not to a direct consumer, that again is a different story because that will not be an India or a continent or a country. It will be more on the lines of MNCs, more bigger companies, and then a US company or a company which has got branches in all the world. right? Right. Exactly. So you go from domestic, yeah, to a national to an international. That's the way you will go for those kinds of. So again, everybody's stamps and song will be different. You don't need to worry about अरे इसका टैम तो इतना छोटा है मेरा क्यों नहीं हुआ या इसका टैम इतना बड़ा है मेरा क्यों नहीं हुआ. These things are not comparable. Again, like I said, it is not right or wrong. It is just that you need to have your your thought very clear to be able to identify your market. The easiest way to do things, which is a cheat sheet, is first identify your song. Because ये आप next एक साल में करोगे. Once your song is identified, then you multiply it 3 times for your SAM and you multiply 10 times for your TAM. That's an easier way to do it because you have visibility of what you can do in the next year. So you have visibility of your song. Post that, it is just multiplication. So that at least you know कि आपका TAM, your growth has to be this big in the next 10 years. But then if it is bigger or if it is smaller, then adjust your goals when you go, right? We can change the screen. Last 2 slides. These are practical examples. This is a platform which has adventure stays listed on their platform, and they have these customers who want to purchase an adventure stay for 1 night, 2 nights, or 1 week. They have stationed themselves in Bhubaneswar. So their head office is in Bhubaneswar, and their tax and song looks like this. Their song is Northeast India. So Bhubaneswar, Northeast India this side. They will acquire all the adventure stays in that region first, and they will give it to the entire world because it's an app at the end of the day. It's a platform, right? Users जितने भी होंगे, but their focus is to acquire these stays, right? Once they acquire here, then they will go to the Indian market, that is other vacation stays, other not vacation, adventure stays, and then in the global market they'll go to the global adventure stays, right? Till the time they're in India, they are getting crowd from India, but then mostly tourist kind of adventure stays, tourists. And then once they go global, they will have everywhere, crowd coming in from everywhere. They will have users from everywhere. Let's put it this way. But their main focus was to acquire these states. So that's their market that they were going to do. And this was the way they were going to do. Change it, please. Now this is a food court. Sorry, it's a service for a food court. So it is a application where they have waiting, the orders keep on coming from online. They have all the waiting orders, and then people who are Swiggy or Zomato get those orders. That's how they handle the restaurant owners handle these delivery orders through their application. So what they were saying is what they were saying is this is not our market. The organized market is not our market because it's organized. They get their orders, they pack their orders, they have the SOPs ready and they can sell it. But then a food court or an unorganized market is their market, which is whatever 25 trillion, which is again what they did was because they have picked up all the unorganized market of the entire world. They have broken it up into different verticals. Why verticals? Because every vertical has its own delivery. So again, for them, it was not the users, it was not the suppliers, that is restaurant owners. It was more the verticals or the type of verticals which have faster turnaround. चाय पीनी है सैंडविच 5 मिनट लगेगा पिज्जा वेज किसी को अगर नूडल्स खानी है उसको 15 मिनट लगेंगे right so the unorganized market is more on the lines of fast food. That's what they were doing right so you go to a dine-in restaurant आपको पता है वो तो टाइम लगेगा ही लगेगा leave it right but if you go to an unorganized market उसमें क्या होता है जो बंदा अपने पहले बिलिंग किया if that person goes and washes his or her hand and is unable to send the counter to the delivery station, वो पीछे आ गया लाइन में, जिसने पहले थर्ड या फोर्थ बिलिंग करवाएगा वो आपको सबसे पहले will go and give the counter and then collect the food, right? So that's where the unorganized market is. We're talking about. And that's the point was the unorganized market. Basically creating tables and streamlining the proceedings, right? So this is what we were talking about. I think इसके बाद I don't have anything. Yeah. Like I said, target market, target audience. It's important for you to decipher at the start rather than go back and reinvent the concept. So, any questions, anything that you would like to talk to me about, or if you have an idea in your mind, you would like to understand or get clarity on the target market at this point of time, I'm open to. Come on, be a little क्या बोलते हैं इवेंटफुल हाइपर प्रोडक्ट बना लो. Something you've seen, you probably want to know how did they decipher it. We get a 15-minute break, right, after this? Sorry? No break? Okay, the next session also have to start now. There's a second session also. I know, exactly. Secretary, she's Paka. Tired. Sorry. Fifteen minutes. 15 minutes and then start. And start. Okay. Yes. If you all are not doing the reflection, Start implementing if you have people for please solve them. I have been given a deadline for 4:10 to some तरफ दिखा था बस तो 4:10 की just नहीं लागत तो That's the biggest criteria. Okay. Full house? Yay! That's an achievement for me. I didn't bore you on enough. So my assistant has left me. I have to go out. Again, so like we said, you have the product in your mind, you've done your market research, you found the target audience, you've done your minimum viable product after you've spoken to that target audience, and you know around about itna to basic the audience is accepting in a product, right? Then you create that basic minimum viable product. You take in for another round of research, this time only feedback, and you know get fine tune your product, understand how to probably add that little features which are very important for the product to sell, otherwise it will not sell. We can create the first, which is called a beta draft of your product. This now can be either the physical prototype, like so the word prototype is you make a prototype, then you test it on different things. So it's the same way a software product also you can call it a prototype or you can call a beta version. There are different names to it, but this is basically these are trials products. So your application that your a handheld application or a physical product will be trial runs. So create 4 or 5 of them, get a bigger, wider audience empathy plus some more because now you understand better onto the depth of which audience you want, right? So you call more audience. Always make sure that you have some part of the previous audience who's trying to empathy because they will be able to actually give you an understanding whether this product has gone up in the enhancement or has gone down towards the enhancement. So is it gone better or worse? Right? So that thumb rule you need from the existing MVP audience that you have. Then you also have another set of audience who will only try out this new refined product because you need to again have an extra or new set of eyes who will look at a product differently or who will have different problem satisfaction criteria. Problem the same writing, but criteria is different only for satisfaction, right? So get these two combinations, try a beta run, that is your prototype testing. Once your prototype testing is done, then you can safely say that this particular level of product is now clear to take it to the market. That is release, product release. Again, there are certain expectations that you will have or certain pitfalls that you will find. I'm not coming to this session right now. The pitfalls are you will be hell bent on completing your product 100%. You say नहीं मैं market में तो तब लेकर आऊंगा कि मेरा product पूरा complete होगा and my consumers will use it. Wonderful, right? But then practically you might not have the funds to do it. You might not be able to completely create 100% product because you've not got enough inputs. Or there are also times just to abate or keep the competition at bay, you don't put certain features at the first go of your product because उसके बाद जब subsequent releases होंगी, you can give these new features as added bonuses to your consumers. So these are again certain marketing tactics, marketing ways that you can extend the longevity of the product and also the reachability of it. It will start reaching more audience because your features have increased. People will start talking about it more. अरे मेरे को तो ये basic मिला था. Now I want more features. I love it. Try and use it. And so on and so forth, right? Your customer loyalty will increase. Your reference will increase, right? So these are certain things. Again, like I said, what the product needs to run smoothly will always be there. These are the enhancements we are doing. You can't give a half-baked product to somebody, right? So, I mean, you must be using WhatsApp. You must be using Instagram. You must be using Facebook. I mean, different social media handles are there. But there are different apps also, right? A chat GPT for that matter, right? They started off with very basic prompt and getting the answer. But up they have a question answer a research part. They have a wall or something. There are three features that they've added, which are paid features and some basic features that you can. So that way you'll be able to keep on giving enhancements to your product, and the customer will stick on to you and not jump to another competition. Right? So that being the crux. Now again, there is one startup I would like to talk about. This startup will now run through the entire presentation. I'll give you different examples. So they started off, they're a live company called Starbuzz.ai. They started off with being a influencer marketing agency. Agency people do the process manually, run campaigns, find influencers. Finding influencers used to take 3 days, 4 days, because you have to manually go to each influencers, understand their, followers, then probably approach them that, we're an influencer marketing agency. Would you like to be an influencer with us? We'll get you campaigns from brands and so on and so forth. They started off with that. Both the founders are tech founders. They understand tech very well. So they started bringing in an enhancement to this entire process. Now at this stage, they have released the first version of their product, which is a SaaS-based platform. So it's a platform where you can connect the influencer to the brand, and that can happen seamlessly when the brand logs in or the influencer logs in and registers themselves. Influencer registers, they get a report to say that this is your social standing in the influencer checklist. This many followers you have, this is the way you can improve, and so on and so forth. Brands log in, they can say that I want an influencer who is into beauty, who is 35 to 40 age, who probably has a daughter as a kid, and they can do twinning together. That's my criteria. They get 100 influencers listed the moment they press the submit button. All this was happening manually through their agents. To come to this level, they did not start at this. This is one of the beta versions. इससे पहले what they did was they got the reports in place first for the influencers. Then they got this search in place. So the platform was the base which they started a year back. This came first, second in line. Then the reports for the brands came third in line. And then now they are at this stage where they are releasing the beta version, where the campaign. So the brand says कि मुझे ये 5 influencers के साथ काम करना है. The brand will put in the money into the account and it will remain in their wallet. Then they will say, I want to run a 15 days ad. The reels will be made by the influencer, and the reels will be 30 seconds, and so on. The other details, very small, intricate details about the campaign. And I want to run this campaign in these 5 regions. They select that, they submit, the campaign runs automatically. After 1.5 year, this is the stage they are. But they did not close their shop, or there's another terminology in startup ecosystem which you would have heard a lot of times, called stealth mode. So they were never stealth mode for the they both had left their jobs, and this was their sole earning place, right? So they went into the back. That is your MVP stage, where they knew that this is a good concept if it's automated. They started working in the background. They kept on getting manual business from people, and in the background, when these products or this application got ready, they released it to these people itself, these influencers, these brands, to use that as a beta version, as a beta trial, or a prototype trial, and now they have released the actual product. So this is the cycle. Why did I speak about the startup, or why did I speak about this product cycle to you all? Everything is not hunky dory from day 0 or day 1. You need to pass or get on from one phase to another to reach a level where you will get 5 more things in your kitty. Then you reach the second, third level, you will get 5 more things in your kit, right? And biggest part is they're still bootstrapped. So bootstrap was another reason why they did not go complete full on with their product development and just release it. What if that product failed or there were certain bugs? They cannot earn their rosy with that, right? I mean, 2 campaigns fail, that's the only business they get for that month. The work is done. They've got 5 developers, they've got 2 content writers, they've got 3 more people working in the operation, so they better they pay the salary. So all these things into consideration, you need to have a product roadmap. Always have a product where your ideal product will be at the end of the roadmap. You work reverse to say -6 features I'll release at this time, -4 more features I'll release at this time, basic version I'll release, right? So that's how you work with a product launch. So having said that, of course, there are again some checks in place which you need to ensure कि ये चीजें update कर रहे हो, आप कर रहे हो, so that your product will be released at a certain date, right? So you can go ahead. The initial stage, we don't need branding and how we can do it. So branding again, when you're talking about branding and when brand comes into picture, I actually take that as a separate session, but I'll give you a little this thing. Logo and tagline is not just branding. First things first. It is just your exterior of your company. That needs to be in place whenever you start. Again, you don't start it or you don't talk about it until you at least know that this is the product you want to release, right? Tab tak you are you and you're talking about your product, right? When I started Pandora's box, it was in the year 2010. I registered the company only now, 2021. So it's not big shakes, right? It's just that you need to build your brand, and the way you build your brand is through content and the product that you release. So for me, I still am known in the industry as Millie Kataria, not Pandora's box founder Millie Kataria. So my Millie Kataria gets associated with HESA as head branding and marketing, Millie Kataria founder Pandora's box, Millie Kataria consultant T Hub, a lot of things that I do. So you, that's why the logo and tagline is not just your brand. It's your content, what you do, what is the kind of thought leadership you have in the industry to be actually able to be followed by people. Okay? So what after you have defined your market? Performance is. It can be first set of 4 and then the next set. First. So you have defined your market, you define right? These 2 things are very, very important for a product launch, like we said. See, product being the basic, you have a product, you will always have a product, but the peripheral activities need to be increased. Distribution network. So now, when I was talking about that physical product, just sometime back, June and December, we need to send it to all the outlets. That's the distribution network I'm talking about. So it's generally for physical products. It's not much for applications and software products, right? But then for product launch, you need to be ready with your distribution network. Same thing. If you want to target the entire India and you're sitting in Hyderabad and you don't have a distribution network, now again, distribution network, again, for physical product is physical distribution network. For software products or non-physical products, it's again a distribution network. What is a distribution network? It's probably you can license with consultants. You can license with license license issuers of people issue licenses. You can club your product with that license. Again, software licenses I'm talking about, right? So if you have a software product, you can always take a distribution network of those people who already are distributing license for other known companies and brands, and you can start with that network. You don't need to build your network from scratch, right? So that's again another form of distribution network. Product roadmap, which I just spoke of. If you don't have a product roadmap, you lost. Everybody's lost. I mean, I If I had to come without a GPS, I would have just come to the ORR exit and I would have stood there and asked Balram, mujhe rasta batao, right? You need to have your destination there already mapped to be able to then reach the destination, right? Go ahead, please. So here, this is a little technical. I'm not going into too many details, but pricing is also important. And there are three different ways of doing pricing. One is competition pricing. So whatever your competition is offering, 10% more, 10% less, you're sold. One is niche pricing. Now, niche pricing is your product is actually your niche product. There is no such product which is yet. So you can ask for a premium. Premium pricing भी बोलते हैं उसको, instead of niche pricing you will remember about premium pricing, premium pricing. And the third one is demand led pricing. The more the demand, you can either reduce or increase the pricing, but it's more momentary pricing, right? Rather than something which is standard. And demand led is only just a COVID, the biggest example. Toilet paper started selling for how much? Triple the amount, right? Toilet paper, bad example. It's getting recorded in YouTube, right? Masks, the kind of masks and sanitizers, the way they were selling at triple the price, right? Vaccinations people were taking in black market, right? So that's your demand based price point pricing, right? So that's your price point. Your product set. Now again, product testing. Like I said, आप product test नहीं करोगे, you don't do market research. In your dreamland, your product is the best. There's no competition. Everybody will purchase it. आप launch करो, no buyers for it, and you're sitting with your hand on your head to say, ये क्या हुआ? I have just invested so much of money and nothing comes. And there are cases. I mean, in fact, there are people when they have got a beautiful product. It has reached a level, but then वो उस level से आगे, it's called a glass ceiling. They've not been able to cross or break that glass ceiling because they firstly they didn't have a roadmap, and then they didn't do that product testing to see if the product could be made into a longevity product, right? You need to have those what do you call it, enhancements to the product. You need to have those new features added to the product off and on, and to understand. In fact, people, or if you look at certain products, the new features also that get added are more on the lines of after taking feedback. So if you see, there will be a feedback session which a product is taking as of now. After 6 months, there's a new product feature released. Because whatever you do on a product, that gets recorded and they know, this is the short ये वाली चाहिए उनको, ये enhancement चाहिए. Let me give it to them after 6 months. So that way, you know that your customer will appreciate this enhancement after 6 months. But research नहीं करोगे, customers भी नहीं ढूंढोगे, तो how will you be able to know also कि this is the enhancement they're looking for? Value-added services. Again, now value-added services is not the features that value-added services are the peripheral services which are an add-on to your. So again, simple example. You have a microchip that you have created. What is the value-add service you can give to your customer base, which obviously is not consumer, not the person who's using a laptop or a desktop, is actually a business who is assembling the desktops and the laptops, right? What value-added service can you give? It's damaged or and then it can be returned. Insurance, right? It gets damaged, I give you 1 year warranty, I give you 2 years warranty, I give you 3 years service. That's your value-added services. Okay, so it's not the personality of the product, I mean, not the product, it's the periphery around it. Services. Phone के साथ earphone, iPods, charging cable, right? Complementary or peripheral product. And of course, marketing. So marketing again, it is not, like I said, it's not something which you need to do consciously. It should be आपका product है, You are only extending or amplifying the value proposition of your product, which in itself will buy the product. That's the start, always for us. उसके बाद your promotional activities, 1+1 free, your give me a referral and get 20% discount, and so on and so forth. Those are just frills to the marketing, which happens pretty late. First thing is your features, your value propositions need to be amplified by the marketing process. And marketing has to know who's your consumer. Go to the next page, please. Let's understand your customer. So, who's your consumer? Go to the next page. I was talking about target audience. Audience does not only contain your consumer, it also contains some peripheral people. It's this. I'll give you an example and I'll need answers for that. So there's a user, there is an influencer, and there's a decision maker. I'll talk about an edtech product which a 10-year-old kid uses. Okay? Mother sits with the kid and explains and is basically sitting with the kid and making him use the product and clearing his or her doubts. Father is the person who will pay for it. Now categorize these three people in these three very exercises. Decision making. Good, great. Genuinely sharp audience, because I generally get confused. These two latter things are concerned. User is pretty clear with everybody, but influencer and decision makers is always very go wrong. So now, decision maker again. So when Byju's started their marathon exercise to go to communities, tell the children, come down, we'll do a creative exercise, and then then they said, if you want to receive the certificate for this particular exercise, call your parents down for the certificate. So that was their marketing campaign that they created to sell their product. Right? Why? So again, the user is the kid. They got the users interested. Users came down. My daughter also came to me. She said, "Mom, चलेंगे नीचे certificate लेने के लिए." I was having a meeting, so I said, "I'll not be able to go. Take Papa with you." So Papa went. Though he is the he is the person who spends. He'll be cutting the check for the Byju's thing, but he came back to say, no, I think my wife also needs to be involved in this process. I'll come back to it. Right? So, somewhere at this point of time, the decision was actually left on the influencer. Influencer, हाँ बोला, तो पापा पैसे पे करेंगे, नहीं तो नहीं पे. So, that's the importance of an influencer. Why I'm saying this is, this marketing phase that we are going through is definitely influencer based. In fact, पहले भी होता था, but then it was that time, it was not the world being your influencer, but it was like your mama, your didi, your bhaiya, or your family members being your influencers. Or for that matter, college kids ke liye, their peers being their influencers, right? So that's the correlation. Now we can go to the next one. And so I created these two personas. One is a B2B persona. Just change the screen, please. And this is there's another one, B2C. I'll just explain one to you. The headings remain the same. Like I told you all, I am creating this persona because, say, 50% of my audience actually accept this persona, and the rest of the 50% are here and there, right? So, in marketing, the biggest and the most important rule for everybody to remember is lowest hanging fruit. That's it. Concentrate on your lowest hanging fruit. Starting is done. Wow. Concentrate on the lowest hanging fruit, and you will be able to learn.
I'm trying to remember the topics. So there is one, the different social media or digital channels they use. The one is their family background, which is again if they're married, husband, child, if they're not married, spinster or bachelor. And then of course, yeah, their habits. Why are we talking about habits? A person, so again, you have different type of buyers. I mean, this you all would have seen in your MBA, first year. So these different type of buyers. So different motivations. So habits say motivation. So basically, what motivates them to take a decision, right? Then you have frustration. They will be frustrated about something, and hence you will sell them something. So this is very important. Channels, acknowledging. This is nowadays it is very very important. अगर उनके पास handheld phone है ही नहीं, they don't have a phone, you cannot sell a Play Store or an iOS app to them. It's as simple as that, right? So you need to know who your persona is to be able to actually get them to listen to you or to even consider you for buying, right? If you don't have, somebody who doesn't have who or let me put it this way, if your target audience 80 to 90% of people don't use smartphones, then your alternate, and you have to have an app, right? Then your alternate will be web-based app or a web-based service. So that's where your diversification or the change in the product or that enhancement will. And that's where you will actually identify that at MVP stage or during doing a product market fit realize कि भैया ऐप बना के फायदा नहीं है या ऐप बनाओ but make a web based app instead of a Play Store. Right. What they're doing is they're also giving this reminder. Okay, so then for your you need to then start giving them a basic smartphone on an EMI basis, or you recover the cost in the pricing that you give them. So again, those are different ways of packaging things, but the basic way, if you just have an app. So again, if it is a Zepto app that you need to download, they will not go about giving the smartphone to you, right? If you don't have a smartphone, then the best bet is for them to create a Chrome-based, web-based application, which everybody can use it on their desktops or their laptops, right? So that's the way. So if you look at it, LinkedIn also. LinkedIn, in fact, LinkedIn, when I do an analytics search on LinkedIn from on my profile, I see that my profile has been searched more, that is 70% times on a desktop rather than, sorry, a laptop rather than a handheld device. So that's the kind of interactions that I have with my the people who want to look at my profile. Right? So they are not the mobile phone savvy, the laptops. Just skip to pages, please. So now that we know who to sell and where to sell, we come to the next. Product market fits. So MVP, we are still not clear where to sell and who to sell. By product market fit, we should be definitely clear where and who to sell. And that's how we do our product market fit. This is a new market research that I was talking about just now. Purana data low of MVP, but also add new data with newer features and everything that you have added or you made those tweaks in your product to actually adjust to the requirement of the customer, and then again make them use it. So product market fit is a broader audience. It is definitely a diversified audience because same set of audience लोगे, you'll get the same set of requirements or results, right? And they will be elated because आपने वो features सारे add कर दिए. But with a diverse audience, you will actually know the next 1 year or 2 years product roadmap where you want to enhance your features.
That's where your product market fit comes into place. It comes into place to first justify or just to confirm your base product, and then also to let you know what are the different kind of increments or enhancement of features that you can bring in the next 2 years or 5 years. Okay? Go ahead. And so product testing, last, thing. Okay, product testing. Now, when you are doing a product market, again, there will be some things that you need to take about. I've been repeating these, so this will be a breeze. You have your target customer. You have to identify your customer's needs, like I said, through the persona mapping. Define your value proposition. So we never speak about the value propositions, but that is again, these are the trifactor. These trifactor need to be in place. After your value proposition, you don't have any edge over competition. You cannot sell your product, right? You need to have a value proposition, a solid value proposition, at least two value propositions which are apart from your competition or traditionally the way I example. Specify your minimum viable product, then your create your MVP into prototype, and then test your MVP. So this is where your MVP with these added features will get tested and your product becomes a product market fit. Now you know your product is solid, your market is there to receive your product and will pay for your product. That's the biggest matchmaking you need to do. If the person is not willing to pay for your product, you can become a good enterprise, social enterprise owner, but never become a business person. Right? So you can just where did you again? So I went a little up and down when we were speaking about personas. We can directly come here. I just kept us to the side. You have, like I said, right? Awareness, sensitivity, decision, purchase, use, loyalty, advocacy. He's in a hurry. What's over here? Again, so depending on what are your what kind of product it is, you will have either digital touchpoints or you will have physical touchpoints. This is getting into too much of nitty gritties. I'll breeze through it because at this stage when you all reach, you all can have a much more drill down session. But अगर मैं अभी आप लोगों को ये explain करूंगी तो you get muddled up. That's why this is the last 2-3 slides that I've kept on marketing as such as a function. Okay. So in the awareness phase, where do you find the customers? Physical में आप PR करोगे, interact करोगे, ऊपर आप digital में newsletter करोगे और उन लोग के data business करोगे, search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is your Google search, right? If you want to be digitally available, then you do your search engine optimization, where it's creates backlink for your website. Your website keeps on popping front. There is a saying in the SEO world: if you are your page is in the second page of Google search, then it is as good as hiding a dead body somewhere where you cannot find it. So it's that bad. You need to be in the first page. Then again, it's technical, not right now for you all to consume. But yeah, you just know from their persona, whatever you identify as their channels of engagement, you need to map those channels of engagement here in your entire journey. So they don't become your consumers immediately. First, they will see your name or your product somewhere. Friend will talk about it, or just search karte karte, they will find this product pop up. It is an awareness phase. Then that comes into a consideration phase where they will say, "हाँ, ये जरूरत तो है मुझे. Let me see if there's any other player in the market who is giving me same product at a cheaper price." They will do the consideration. They compare features. Then they'll say, "नहीं, यही ठीक है. This is the best product that I'm getting." They go to a decision making. Then they come into a purchase phase. Where they purchase the product, they might just say कि referral discount दे दो or first time user discount दे दो and so on and so on. But it's more or less that your purchase of customers. That means the new funneled customers are getting funneled. But what they are doing is they are losing the existing customers to either attrition, to either competition, or just negligence. हो क्या रहा है ऊपर से you're getting fresh leads, fresh saman, but here your people who can actually keep on giving you recurring business, are getting lost. And that's where always the danger or the role of marketing comes into picture is how do you block that and make them go the entire circle of again purchasing your product, or at least talking about your product. If it's not, if it's not a fast moving product like 2 years usage time or 3 years usage time, at least in that 3 years I can give referrals. I can become a loyal customer, talk about my product, I can become an ambassador, so on and so forth. So that's where I was talking about. This is the place where marketing has the biggest role. You can go forward. Just keep on doing 5 or 6 clicks because everything is going to come. Then I'm going to talk about this one AS marketing. Start. Again, it's channels. Like I said, social media is not my channel. Search engine optimization is not my channel. I have a few companies like I was talking about influencer marketing. Then there is something called Play Store key app, right? You have something called App Store optimization. That is as known as SEO, search engine optimization, because again that is a Google base that has got a search bar. You put put a name, or you put the reason why, the type of app you're trying to find. It will give you a list of apps, and one of them will be promoted app, or they will be first, second, third, right? So usme bhi aapko, you have to do a lot of optimization. So again, these are all the different channels you can use to get your product into that awareness and consideration phase of the entire cycle of the customer journey, right? Go ahead, please. Whatever we've understood, whatever we filmed, it all boils down to creating a strategy. You have your goals, you have your target market, you have your personas, your customer journey map. All this takes doing inbound, outbound marketing, and then using tools to be able to analyze those campaigns, those activities that you've done, and understand whether this was a fruitful campaign or not. Like, जो भी हम काम कर रहे हैं, like for the matter of product market fit also, whether it's a right product or not, or to have to actually bring some changes into the product and again release it, right? So same way, we do marketing also that. Through a set of actions, we get some reactions, we analyze those reactions, and then if some of them work, we repeat it, or then we tweak our strategy and repeat it. So this is again a cycle. Budget is the last thing that comes into consideration because you obviously need to be aware of the budget as well. You cannot do the entire world's marketing in one day. You have your certain buckets, you have certain budget, you go by it, you utilize that budget, get more budget because the results were good, you got more sales, you got more people who got interested in your product, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, these last 3 or 4 things or activities are something which you do it when you drill down after your product is ready for launch. But then before that, the persona making, the target audience, that's what will get you to a viable product, a product which can actually be released to the market. Right? I think ऐसे के बाद कुछ नहीं है, just like product launch for that's about it. Any questions last minute before he closes? Any clarification? Huh? So if you have a website SEO, or if you don't have a website at all, just doing a app now, then it's sales. But then you need to also be like I said, you need to have web version also. You need so ASO and SEO go hand in hand, but if you don't have an app, then your SEO will cover everything. Hanji, anybody for any Hanji? Sorry? That validation is there. Then you have You treat your product again 20%, and you get bigger sum. Validation of better product, then you get the product market. That's the product, right? For the audience, and I also we consider both organization as a product. That's without
Yes, yes. You'll stop. Let's stop.